Considering the fact that Honda is going to use General Motors to build its electric cars in North America and has just said it believes that battery-powered cars will always, as in forever, be more expensive than internal combustion engine vehicles. Given those facts, I believe Honda is very, very non-committal to EVs, not taking them serious at all, and is probably the most likely company to go bankrupt. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. I made a video around about a year ago talking about Honda and their likelihood of bankruptcy. And honestly, since then, my opinion on a number of different automakers has changed drastically. A lot of them have committed and changed their tune, changed their plans for the next decade massively when it comes to electrification. Honda, what did they do? They said, GM, can you help us, please? And then they came out and said this. We at Honda don't believe that lithium-ion technology is the long-term solution. Solid-state batteries are going to be the game changer for us. Now, I haven't heard any company make that claim. In fact, I believe that is utterly nonsensical. And Honda has no idea, no one else has any idea either, whether or not solid-state batteries will in fact ever take off. I am fairly confident that they won't. But clearly Honda is hoping for a Hail Mary. The Hail Mary solid-state batteries. If solid-state batteries do somehow take off one day and are actually affordable and mass-produced, Honda thinks it can get back in the game. Now, as electric cars continue to grow in popularity, purchase costs are continuing constantly to come down, putting them on par with internal combustion engine vehicles. At least in China, where there's a lot of competition, that is in fact the case right now. The irony is here that in some cases, electric vehicles are actually even cheaper than internal combustion engine vehicles, particularly in the case of, say, sports cars, for example, the Porsche Taycan. In Norway, the Taycan costs half as much as the Panamera, which is very similar to. In France, a BMW i4 M50 is 35% cheaper than a less powerful M3 or M4. The thing is, people don't realize. Look at a car like the Zeekr 001. For example, that car has more than 400 kilowatt and 800 newton meters of torque. It costs $43,000 US. That's the equivalent power and torque to, say, something like a BMW M3, which costs around about 4 times as much. Or in some countries, 3 times as much. But either way, it's a lot more expensive. Of course, on the lower end of the price scale, looking at the cheaper cars, yes, generally EVs are considerably more expensive than equivalent gas cars. Well, everywhere outside of China, that is anyway. In Germany, a Volkswagen ID3 will cost around 38,000 euros. A well-equipped Golf you can buy for around 8,000 euros less. But the Golf is smaller and isn't as well equipped as the ID3. In the US, the Chevy Bolt EUV retails for 28,000 US. And then the GM ICE internal combustion engine Trailblazer is around 7,000 US cheaper. But the price differences, as you can see, are not really all that great. And if you consider the ownership costs and the servicing costs, well, clearly battery-powered electric cars actually, in most instances, will cost you less money in the long run. However, initial purchase price here is what Honda is talking about. And clearly Honda has completely ignored what is happening in China. It's also completely ignored the fact that the cost of batteries has gone down enormously. In fact, the cost of batteries does continue to decline in spite of the fact that lithium costs are going up. Why is that? Well, battery energy density is improving, enormously improving, in fact, and people just don't realize what's going on. CATL have their new M3P lithium iron phosphate battery pack with the manganese cathode, which they say will provide about 20% more energy density than the previous lithium iron phosphate battery pack. By the way, that battery pack goes into Tesla vehicles. CATL then said this new battery pack costs no more than the old model. So if it's 20% more energy dense and costs the same exact price, that means it's 20% cheaper. Honda's Vice President of Business and Sales to America, Dave Gardner, reiterated Honda's dependence on their future strategy being a combination of hybrid vehicles and vehicles with solid-state batteries. Now, Mr. Gardner believes solid-state batteries will enable entry-level EVs to be priced in the neighborhood of what a nice internal combustion engine vehicle costs. However, he also admitted that solid-state batteries are a long way away and won't be used on the brand's upcoming Prologue electric crossover whenever that arrives, who knows. That said, Honda is committed to the development of solid-state batteries, and they've recently announced investing $310 million into this battery technology. Now, probably what has led to Honda taking this position is their own failures. Honda's first mass-produced EV, the e-City car, costs around $80,000 here in Australia, and it's very expensive in pretty much all markets that it's sold in. Therefore, it's been basically a failure when it comes to a sales perspective anyway. Only 3,752 were sold in Europe last year for the entire year, despite targeted sales of more than 10,000. The E has received plenty of praise for its funky design, looks really, really cool, and its tech-laden interior. However, its poor range, it has 135 miles of range, and its price in the UK, it is around 35,000 euros at the base level, has drawn criticism from a lot of people, and fairly so. Undoubtedly, says Inside EVs, Honda will be hoping its upcoming Prologue electric crossover will sell better, even if it costs consumers more than a similarly equipped CR-V. Now, Honda's debt in 2020 was $38.8 billion. In 2021, that figure rose by 14% to $44 billion, in spite of the fact that they basically invested almost nothing into development of electric cars into the future. Now, the concerning thing about this is Honda's debt continues to rise. In 2019, that figure was only $34 billion. It then rose to 38, it's now at 44, and Honda isn't investing money into EVs to justify this increased debt. It simply isn't making a profit. Between 2009 and 2022, Honda's long-term debt increased almost every year. And that doesn't look to be a trend that's going to be reversing anytime soon. Now, it is true that Honda is committed to having 30 electric vehicles available by 2030. Now, that seems an ambitious number for such a moderately sized company. The thing is, what percentage of those will be made by General Motors and what percentage will be made by Honda? No one seems to actually know. Now, Honda has said it's going to invest $56 billion into electric cars. But the key thing I'm wondering is, where will Honda actually get this money? Profits from its internal combustion engine vehicles don't seem to be anywhere near enough to fund this new electric vehicle development strategy, which apparently won't really start to take off for at least a few more years. And the thing is, Honda themselves don't seem to be clear, and in fact, don't seem to fully understand even their own strategy. Honda says it intends to launch 10 electric vehicles in China with its joint venture partner, who will actually be manufacturing them, by 2027. Build 2 million EVs in 2030, but still continue to manufacture internal combustion engine vehicles until 2040. Now, when somebody actually asked Honda's Australia CEO what was going on with their electric cars, he said this: "We are working through all the options now. A lot of them are for the US market and other left-hand drive markets globally. I couldn't tell you if 20 of them were left-hand drive or right-hand drive because nobody seems to know." He said it's not super clear into the next 5, 6, or 7 years what Honda's electric vehicle strategy actually is. He then went on to say, also, a lot of the progress will be determined here by the pace at which the government mandates CO2 emissions. The industry has a voluntary system now, but policy uncertainty on that is not easy for any OEM to be talking about bringing the latest technology to this market. Honda hasn't told its distributors around the world what it's actually doing with EVs, when they'll get them, if ever. Honda's global head of electrification, Shinji Aoyama, told Reuters that the company is working on 2 new platforms, one for mini EVs that will be available in Japan by 2024, and one for full-sized EVs that will roll out in North America in 2026. Now, the thing is, right, Honda is working on a platform with General Motors to build EVs in North America. But that platform and those cars won't be ready until 2027 at the earliest. The alarming thing is here, Honda is saying, right, that its electric cars will never, ever be more affordable than its internal combustion engine versions. Now, the Chinese don't agree. In fact, many companies don't agree with that. And here is what is most concerning about Honda. Shinji, the global head of electrification, said, "Whether our EVs will be based on Honda's architecture or on GM's platform has not yet been decided." That was a few months ago. If Honda haven't decided their electrification strategy now, then frankly, it's just too late. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking Honda are in a lot of trouble here. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you again on the next video. Bye-bye.